wrestling fan of all ages. We're back for a special episode. We found him. He was hiding somewhere. He is the most amazing video editor we have found for the channel, the Red Standard. And I, of course, am the SKF Effect. And we're here to talk about the upcoming pay-per-view event on Saturday, AEW Full Gear, which I understand it actually snuck up on Red Standard. He's been a little preoccupied the last few weeks, some life changes and whatnot.
If I can describe my my excitement for this pay-per-view on Saturday, I think it could be summed up by a text message that I sent to Steven last night. While watching this AEW show at approximately 8:30, I did not know that this pay-per-view was taking place this weekend. That is my excitement for this pay-per-view. But coming off of last night's Dynamite show, I thought the build-up for at least the main event was definitely intensified last night. So I think the main event's definitely going to be the most exciting part of the pay-per-view. And there are other good matches on there, but I think for the most part, the excitement's really in the main event.
They got to hold back on having the brouhahas to close out the show. I mean, I always appreciate a good brouhaha, but they've done it too much since they started programming.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I can't just blame him because I honestly thought this was last Saturday, and I was trying to find it to watch it, and I'm like, oh, wait, what in the world? So...
Not even one of the performers knew the exact date of the pay-per-view itself. Someone thought it was this Sunday.
Again, Pac barely probably knows where he is, so... So, let's dive right into it with the buy-in match between Bea Priestley and Britt Baker. I mean, I like Britt Baker, I do. I'm a fan, but man, I feel like they push her, like, they want to make sure we know who she is and whatnot. Like, they build her a lot. And that's nothing wrong. Nothing completely wrong, but I don't know, I just kind of wish other women there, too, would get quite as much attention. Like, I feel like she even gets more attention than the current women's champion.
Which makes you kind of think why exactly, like, they kind of went with Riho as the champion, because like you said, a lot of the other women are usually regulars on the YouTube show Dark, AEW Dark.
Uh-huh.
That's where you'll see like Allie. That's where you see like some the others like Nyla Rose and such. So it's just kind of weird because like when Allie was first announced, she was like given a big like a big hype around her. But like ever since like Dynamite kind of launched, she's kind of been more of like reserved for Dark, as is most of the other women's. But it's like this is actually the one women's feud that's kind of like been building since I believe July, when Bea accidentally like knocked her eye or something.
I would say Bea knocked her out, and then they had Bea cost her the casino battle royale.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely been a good storytelling between these two. So I'm going to assume Britt Baker walks out for this one as champ. Well, not as champ, I'm sorry, as the winner.
I will agree with that, and I think after this she probably contends for the belt.
Again. We mentioned this bastard a few seconds ago. Pac versus Hangman Page.
This is a rematch. Didn't they have like their match on the premiere episode?
Yes.
And that was won by Pac with the new submission move.
Yes, because he had a perfect record until he came to a draw recently.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of weird because like the last pay-per-view was All Out, I believe.
Yes.
So we were kind of going into that one thinking Adam Page was going to kind of be the guy for AEW, their top babyface, but he's kind of been more of like a mid-carder ever since. So it's I still think Pac's going to get the win in this one, but I think they need to do a good job of continuing like any momentum that they want to build with Hangman.
Yeah, agreed. But I feel like Hangman needs this win more than Pac.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This match, which I'm sorry, my lack of interest in this is probably my least interest in this match. Shawn Spears versus Joey Janela.
Apparently, this feud came about when Joey left the cigar in Tully's coffee or something. I think that's what the basis of this feud was.
That's
And
not
then,
the
like, I think,
thing we've had a feud come from.
I mean, I think,
I lost him there for a second.
I think Shawn Spears is the one that they have most potential with, especially if they're pairing him with Tully Blanchard. So coming off of All Out where he lost to Cody, I think he's going to get the win on this one against Joey Janela, who can afford any losses. You know, it's not going to really hurt him. It's not going to affect his popularity. So with Shawn Spears, I think they see a future, top heel in him.
That's what I was
Especially
going
with
to
having,
say. Shawn Spears definitely has the top heel factor. They just got to do something more with him because having a great manager, unless the manager is Paul Heyman, only does so much for you.
hmm And they've been able to develop a good chemistry between those two because, like you said, like a lot of other managers, they failed to find that chemistry because it just seems like they're just randomly put together. So I think these two kind of have a good dynamic between those two.
Mm-hmm. Next up, the lights out match, because it's not sanctioned, because they don't want to be responsible for whatever the hell these two might do to each other. Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega.
They were originally supposed to have their match at All Out, but it obviously got delayed when Moxley kind of got the infected elbow.
Yep.
So I'm still thinking like this is a weird one to kind of predict because I still feel like Moxley has a lot of momentum going for him. And they were kind of telling the story with Omega that he's kind of like struggling a bit and kind of like finding his way back in.
Yeah.
But it kind of
Omega
dropped
has
that.
not had a problem taking losses right now. Omega has not had a problem taking losses, which to me, that's kind of cool because he's helping put over people. Kenny is established. Kenny doesn't need to win matches. So I've appreciated the fact that he's actually putting people over. But, in that matter, neither does Moxley. So I don't care who's going to win this match. Those two are going to fuck each other up. And it's going to be great. In fact, I dare say it would be even glorious.
Oh, can we say that? Oh, we're talking AEW here. I don't know if we could say that. But if I'm going to give a prediction, I'm going to predict it's probably going to be Moxley because he's the one that's kind of like asked the match, so it would kind of make a lot more sense for him to win the match that he asked for, unless it's one of those cases where it comes back to bite him. So, but I'm still going to predict it's going to be Moxley getting the win.
We'll see, because if I'm correct, the wins and loss don't count for this match. Because this is
it's not
a
sanctioned
match, so the win-loss record does not matter for this one.
So then technically, like, if there was a winner, like, is this going to be a 1-2-3? Is this going to be a knockout kind of thing? Like, what is it? It's one of the weird things about a non-sanctioned match that's like, if it's not sanctioned, why is there like a referee there? It's non-sanctioned matches are like weird.
Stop the damn match, Cesar. They're there to stop the damn match.
It's a weird thing to kind of like think about, but we just enjoy because they just kick each other's asses.
Speaking of kicking each other's asses, there's going to be a lot of kicking in this match. It is proud and powerful because they couldn't come up with a better name for themselves versus the Young Bucks. I'm sorry, I still can't get it. It's not a bad name, but I feel like after being known as LAX for so long, they could have come up with something better than P&P.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, those two, I'm going to predict those two get the win. Young Bucks don't need the win, but if we're going to escalate P&P more, I think they need to be the first winners of this match.
Yeah, I can kind of see that happening too, and because there's a tag title match on this show, right?
There
is a three-way
match on this show. It is a three-way match.
So I could kind of see like after this match, like I do think Santana and Ortiz are going to get the win too, because of course they're the newcomers into the company as well. So you kind of want to get them established on the pay-per-view, and maybe even like get them a tag title shot afterwards too. because of course they're no stranger to gold. So I can kind of see that happening, because I do think like after this pay-per-view we're going to kind of see the Inner Circle get more involved in some of the title matches. So, or there isn't a mid-card title, right? It's only just the tag team women's in the world. Okay, so then yeah.
Inner Circle needs a woman.
But I can kind of see oh my god, I was about to say that name. PNP, excuse me, doesn't sound as fun. P and whatever. But I think PNP are gonna get the win on this one. It's just actually interesting, because I actually thought this was the first time they ever had a match, but the first time was actually on the Jericho cruise.
Yep.
Amazing how everything turns out.
So, you mentioned the tag titles, so let's go to the tag title match. It is SCU defending the tag team titles against Private Party and the Lucha Bros. I was happy to see SCU get the win. I would have thought Lucha Brothers, if you said SCU was going to win, I'd been like, that's cool, but I don't see it happening. So I was very happy to see those guys get the win. I don't want to see them lose it already.
I don't think they're gonna.
Private Party is a good tag team. Lucha Brothers is phenomenal. But I want to see SCU be able to retain here and continue on.
I think that's what's going to happen here, and I think Private Party are in there to take the fall, because I think later on they're going to do the rematch with SCU and Lucha Brothers, because I too was a little surprised when, because I believe when I made the prediction earlier, I thought like SCU were going to be a first round exit, but they actually ended up winning the belts, and I'm actually happy for them too, because I like Frankie Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky's pretty good too, so I thought it was a pretty good win for those two. And yeah, I don't want to see them, lose the titles already. I think it would just, negate just being the first champion. So I think SCU are gonna get the win here, and maybe we'll see SCU against the Inner Circle later on.
That would be cool to see. So let's see. Next we have the women's match. It is Riho defending against Emi Sakura.
I can't really give much other than I think it's just going to be Riho winning. I'm sorry.
Most likely, yeah. I don't really have much else either for it. But
I honestly feel like the only reason Riho won was because Britt Baker was still injured.
And connections with Kenny, and Kenny being the trainer and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that would be a good match. I definitely believe this will be a good match, but I imagine Riho will be walking away with a win.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to the main event. It is Cody challenging Jericho, Le Champion, for Le Championship.
Let's not forget to mention Chris Jericho is the youngest AEW champion in history.
True enough. The longest reigning champion, too.
I'll tell you, I saw that video, and I thought it was one of the best videos that was ever made in any wrestling company ever. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was greatly produced.
Yeah.
And I also thought Cody's promo was pretty awesome, too, earlier on in the show, because the announcement that he made was that if he loses, he will never challenge for the AEW World Championship again, which I think is a viable stipulation that you can actually buy into, rather than a retirement match or whatever, because obviously nobody buys retirement matches anymore these days. But
no, if it was, I will never challenge for it again as long as Jericho is champion, that's a believable one.
I feel though it's
I don't believe Cody will never not be champion of his own company.
I think that's kind of the reason too, is he kind of understands he's running the company. He doesn't want to fall into the booker being the champion. So I can kind of
Yeah, and now we go to this, and I asked you this earlier. Since being named number one contender, and I state he was named number one contender, he did not win a number one contendership spot. Cody has not wrestled a match on Dynamite.
Well, you wrestled on the first show against Sammy Guevara, I believe.
Was it already announced for Full Gear then?
But he already had the title match like well before. I think it was like right after, like the week after All Out that it
Okay,
was announced. Because I remember like we
that's
even
right.
like broke
We
it
talked about it
during
after Liv's All Out Adventure. So Cody had one match, like one
yeah.
one match on Dynamite. That's it.
Yes.
I don't like that. When you build up the premise that the wins and losses matter in your company, and you become number one contender of a championship, you should still be wrestling, especially when Le Champion is still showing up and wrestling. And
It's
to me,
interesting.
hold on.
I don't mean okay. I don't want to like just to like cut in a bit because like I'm just looking at like the records here because they're not just including the records for like Dynamite. They're including like overall since All or Nothing. And I'm just looking here. Cody has a record of 4-1-1, which is kind of like one of the better records when you compare it to some of the other roster members.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just interesting, like when you say that, because it's like they also had like that number one contenders match with that I believe Allen won and
Yes.
had the match with Jericho. But I do see your
It's
point.
special championship challenge. But to me, Cody should be having to face whoever has like the second best record. And you know what? If the person with the second best record is able to beat him, boom, he loses his title match because he no longer has the best record. So if you're making the wins, losses matter, you should be doing something that makes them matter.
It's an interesting concept they definitely got going on with the win-loss record.
But to me, the way Cody becomes just gets named number one contender, has one match on Dynamite, and that's that. That to me is crap. I'm sorry, it's crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if this was all done, so he puts on a great match with Jericho, and MJF turns on him, costing him the match, so Cody can never challenge for the championship again, thus his way of saying, yes, it's my company, I'm not going to become the champion of my own company, kudos to him. I applaud it. But if he ends up becoming champion, meh, I'm not going to have much for it. It's a bad decision by bad booking. So that's my thoughts on the main event title match.
I mean, I'm still interested in this match because, like I said, the videos and the promos from last night I thought really delivered.
Let me state, I am a fan of Jericho. I am a fan of Cody. But I'm not a fan of how this match came about and how the build has been with Cody not really seeing much in-ring action as far as Dynamite goes.
But I think in the end, I think it's going to be Jericho getting the win here. I honestly don't think Cody's really going to be. I don't think his interest is really just winning the world championship in the company. I think for him, it's all about just making sure that it's the best wrestling company. And if he's going to put over other talent to make so, then I don't think he really needs the championship. So I think Jericho's going to continue his reign here until there's someone that they build up and have that big win over the legend that they're going to eventually find.
The legend that is Le Champion. This is what's disappointing right now. This is the one thing really disappointing me right now with AEW. Britt Baker earned a title match, I believe, on Dynamite. Or was she just given it?
I think she won a number one contenders match.
Okay, so she earned it, but now for the pay-per-view, Emmy just got handed it. Cody got handed it, Darby Allin had to earn it. I think Private Party earned their way into this tag title match yesterday, but Lucha Bros got handed the title match. So they're picking and choosing. Some people are earning title matches, some people are being handed title matches. It's not, I don't know. I like seeing people earn title matches.
It's just interesting when you just consider it's like they're using the records while it's the WWE playbook. It's like if you pin the champion, you get a number one contendership match, which I think is just a detriment to your champions because you're making them look bad by having them get pinned. Like you see, like Asuka getting pinned by Natalya just randomly on an episode of Raw, and then all of a sudden they're supposed to get a tag title match out of it. Or you see like the New Day, they actually get pinned before the Saudi Arabia show, and then they still get a number one contenders match even though they got pinned.
Yeah. Logic, man, logic. All right, so that's it for Full Gear. That's our predictions. Honestly, I'm curious if I'm able to watch and see some of the matches, and see, how well we were able to predict them. What are your thoughts on it? How do you all feel about the build-up and how some of these matches came about? Let us know in the comments below. Cesar, anything else you want to add?
I mean, I think it's going to be a solid pay-per-view. It's just like that there's not that much buzz as much as the other two pay-per-views, but I do think they got some solid matches on this card that I think are going to get people talking. I think the Lights Out match is going to, I think it's going to definitely deliver and get a lot of people excited. And I think the main event, like a lot of, like Cody's matches, I think always deliver in terms of like storytelling. And especially like working with someone like Jericho, who definitely is like, someone that can get an emotion out of you. I think these two are going to have a solid like match in terms of like, storytelling. So I'm, at least for those two matches, I'm definitely looking forward to, this pay-per-view. So
that's our thoughts. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close out this episode. If you liked it, please hit that little like icon. If you enjoyed the videos and want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. And that little bell icon too will let you know when stuff comes up.
what else do you got to promote?
Steven's Multiverse is coming back. We have started up with Raw, NXT, and SmackDown crowning the champions.
I apologize for the Jinder Mahal appearance on my episode of Raw. That was not I had nothing to do with that. That was out of my hand. You saw it. I did not draft him. I do not want him, but I'm forced to have him, and I apologize for making you sit through a Jinder Mahal match, even though he was in a 6-man, but still just this presence. I deeply apologize for that.
Much like the actual Raw and SmackDown, where they did drafts and those that were not drafted eventually just got assigned shows. Those that went undrafted amongst us just got drafted to shows. But
Can Jinder Mahal quit my brand and just randomly show up on your brand, please?
I don't know if that's in the game. So, with that said, we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Be good to each other.